Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, Miss Casey?
I am fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining. Um, oh, I'm sorry. I can't hear your audio.
You can't?
Oh,
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 no,
now
my,
I
my
can.
lips were moving, but I wasn't saying
Oh,
anything. I was
okay.
trying to read. I was trying to read the screen to be sure I'm in the right area.
Okay, gotcha. Yes, so this is the breakout room for the Northeast Middle Outer Community Area Plan. Is this the one that you meant to join? And I can double check if
I think so.
okay.
It's the lighter teal on the area map,
Right.
and it's the University City area. So,
Perfect. Great.
okay.
Well, yeah, so it's just you and I in this room so far. So I'll go ahead and get started on this overview. But as I'm going through it, since it's just the two of us, if you have any questions, feel free to um, ask. Otherwise, I'll just kind of go through the presentation and then open
Okay.
up for questions towards the end.
That'll be fine. I'm
Okay.
I'm mainly on here for information. I just
Okay.
want to see what's going on in our
Okay.
area.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come listen to these presentations. Um, but yeah, so to get started with the first hour, I'm going to walk you through a brief overview of the Northeast Middle Outer Community Area Plan. And then, like as I mentioned, we'll open up the floor for discussion. So to start, the reason for developing the community area plans is because Charlotte has been continuously growing for decades, as I'm sure you know. And believe it or not, it's expected to keep growing. So, in response to the projected growth, our city adopted the Charlotte Future 2040 Comprehensive Plan in 2021, which defines our 20-year vision for growth and change in Charlotte. The plan essentially calls for future growth in the city to benefit as many people as possible. So, with the comprehensive plan, while the comprehensive plan provides the broad vision for the community, there are additional levels of planning and guidance needed to make the vision come to life. So, this is the planning framework adopted within the comprehensive plan, and it identifies the subsequent levels of guidance needed. So level one, as I mentioned, is the comprehensive plan. Level two are strategic and action plans and are citywide documents that provide more details than the comprehensive plan on a particular topic. For example, the Strategic Mobility Plan through the Charlotte Department of Transportation provides more guidance on how to realize Goal 5 of the Comprehensive Plan, which is creating safe and equitable mobility choices for all. So level three types of plans, which are community area plans that we're discussing today, provide more guidance for the appropriate land uses, building form, and infrastructure needed throughout the plan geography. And then lastly, that level four plans are specific plans that focus on smaller geographies and provide more guidance for implementation on specific projects and topics. And it's important to note that levels 2 through 4 all build upon the vision and the goals outlined in that level 1 comprehensive plan. So the community area plans that we'll be talking about today are essentially about creating complete communities, which means creating places that integrate housing, job opportunities, and daily goods in an accessible manner. So in other words, creating places where you can live, work, and play in the environment that you live in. So community area plans were developed using this five-phase process that's occurred over the past 2 years, outlined in this slide here. I won't go through all the details of each of the phases, but if you have any questions on that, I'm happy to go into more details of this. But throughout each phase of the project, we've had engagement opportunities for the community, and then we accept that feedback and we incorporate those into our plans. So this slide summarizes the engagement efforts from phases 1 through 4 of the effort, and we've reached over 400,000 residents both online and in person using a range of tactics such as social media posts, videos, our website, and online interactive content that we've produced. And while virtual interactions are great, we've also really value our in-person interactions, and we're able to connect with about 6,000 people from in phases 1 through 4 of the effort. We hosted 50 workshops in which we asked residents to join us, but we also made an effort to meet people where they were by attending other meetings out in the community, festivals, and going to the libraries. And you can see the geographic reach that we had on the map here, shown on the right. Throughout phases 1 through 4, we received about 1,700 comments, and that helped shape the draft plans that we're discussing today. So the plans were developed using a systematic process, meaning that they were developed in the same way and will have the same components and format within them. So as you can see here on the map, we have 14 plans, and they were organized in this way geographically. So each plan has a certain color associated with it. Um, each plan has unique content, but it's kind of organized in the same way. But as I mentioned, the content is kind of catered to the needs of each community. These plans provide a common set of considerations for all decision makers to ensure that we're consistently evaluating options in line with the city's vision. Over time, these considerations will help ensure that growth is accommodated in a way that respects established neighborhoods, aligns growth with our infrastructure capacity, and creates vibrant mixed-use centers for all. So with that background, I'll walk you through the contents of the Northeast Middle Outer Plan. So all of the plans, as I mentioned, are organized in the same way, but with the content specific to each area. So each plan includes an introduction, which provides an overview of the information that I just previously shared in these slides before. And then I'll kind of walk through each of the remaining sections of the plan here so you know what's in it. So for the community area profile chapter, it provides an overview of the area. This includes a summary of the projected growth that's expected for the community, so residential units and new jobs, as well as a comparison of local demographics to citywide demographics. And again, this profile is, we've done this for each of the communities, and it's also available online outside of these plans. If I'm happy to send a link in the chat if you're interested in that section. And then for community needs and goals chapter, this outlines the geography's greatest needs and prioritized goals. So for this geography, the Northeast Middle Outer geography, the first priority is focused on increasing access to housing choices, followed by access to job opportunities, then access to daily goods and services, and then followed by environmental justice issues. These plans focused on these four needs because the metrics that were identified in the comprehensive plan were paramount for ensuring that future growth benefits as many people as possible. So the 10 comprehensive plan goals were linked to these four metrics I just listed. And if a metric scored less than 5, the associated goals with that metric were identified as priorities for that geography. I'll also note that all the goals are important to each geography, but this prioritized list will help prioritize limited dollars and resources. The Creating Complete Communities chapter focuses on the recommended development pattern for the geography via the 2040 policy map shown here on the screen. So the colors on the map relate to the 10 place types that we have listed and shared. So this relates to the types and intensity of development that's appropriate in the area. So to learn more about those colors, you can see this in the place type descriptions in the appendix, and I'm happy to share that at the end of the presentation as well. These plans recommend that 78% of the geography remain as is, meaning if redevelopment occurs in these areas, like neighborhood 1, shown in yellow, then new development should match the scale and intensity of development that's on the ground today. The plan recommends that 22% of the geography evolve into a different type of development than what exists today. These changes will help accommodate our projected growth in a way that respects neighborhoods, pairs growth with infrastructure capacity, and creates mixed-use centers, which help increase access across Charlotte. Now, the map can certainly change over time, and there's specific guidance around that within the program guide under the minor map amendment criteria section to ensure that future requests for changes are aligned with the growth strategy. The rest of this chapter illustrates the types of changes to the policy map, then how the recommended changes help advance the geography's priority goals and address their greatest needs. The next chapter, Supporting the Vision, includes 5 sections and references the Neighborhood Toolkit. The Neighborhood Toolkit is included within the appendix because it's a reference for all geographies. The toolkit is super useful if you're very involved in your community or want to do some actual change, on the ground yourself or with your neighbors. Um, the toolkit catalogs all of the great programs that are currently available to residents to help address various community needs. It has information on grants, information on a variety of things. And I'm happy to walk through that one separately as well if people are interested in that. Um, the intent is that this toolkit is a resource to empower neighbors and neighborhoods who want to take some action. So, for example, there are multiple other programs that are offered for groups and individuals to tap into um, improving open spaces in their community. Um, Next, in the Supporting the Vision chapter, it's the mobility section. This was developed in coordination with the Charlotte Department of Transportation, the Charlotte Area Transit System, and the Charlotte Regional Transportation Planning Organization. Uh, it again supports the issues around Goal 5, which is safe and equitable mobility in Charlotte. It includes a clip of the citywide streets map shown here on the top map, which outlines future cross sections for streets in Charlotte. Um, and there's also additional guidance for smaller streets through the Unified Development Ordinance regulations. This section summarizes the citywide strategic mobility plan and highlights the strategic investment areas within the geography. The strategic mobility plan is a level 2 type plan of the ones I mentioned before that outlines the city's mobility practices. The strategic investment areas is a citywide investment strategy for maximizing the city's limited investment dollars in an efficient and impactful manner. Next, again, with the mobility section, it includes a new level of guidance called the mobility assessment. So this assessment evaluates how well our future mixed-use places are meeting our aspirations. These assessments should be used by all stakeholders, residents, developers, and city officials to inform future development and infrastructure projects within these areas. For example, one way you can use this is if a developer wants to rezone a site within one of the mixed-use locations, they should use this assessment to propose a project that helps improve the conditions listed on this chart here. And residents and communities can use the plan as a tool to help advocate for or against items related to that. So, yeah, community members can evaluate a proposed project against this assessment to determine if the project is contributing to the area's aspirations. The open space and community character chapters include a similar assessment to this. So there's a table again with dials that show if what locations are meeting what aspirations. For the sake of time, I won't go through it in this set of presentations, but if as we're discussing, if we want to take a look at those, I'm happy to do that. The next section is environmental justice and sustainability, and it builds upon the comprehensive plan's vision to reduce environmental impacts across Charlotte. This section provides more detailed analysis of the environmental impacts within the planned geography, providing information on tree canopy, impervious surfaces, proximity to industrial and major infrastructure, and floodplains, as shown in the assessment dials in the top image here. It also introduces it also introduces heat impacts as a new environmental metric that should be considered in future decision making. And that's shown on the map here on the bottom. The implementation section provides additional specific strategies for various partners and agencies for advancing this work and contain illustrative concepts to provide some visualizations for how areas that are recommended for changes and how they may evolve over time. Um, The program guide and the appendix are also available to be reviewed. And I can pull those up if we have questions about those, where you can find additional background information to support the content in those plans. So after the plans are adopted by City Council, potentially hopefully this fall, the plans will be implemented in multiple ways. The plans, the private and public sectors both have a role to play. The plans may be implemented through private development, private or public partnerships, capital improvements, or rezonings. Community area plans are an important component of Charlotte's planning framework, but they're not the only tool in the toolbox. We also have specific plans, as I mentioned, that focus on smaller geographies and are more implementation focused. And when we have the ability, um, and we have the ability to develop uh, this guidance if and when needed across the city. So also keep in mind, planning is cyclical, and we plan to monitor and update the comprehensive plan and community area plans every 8 to 10 years. So once these plans get adopted, they don't sit on a shelf. We constantly monitor and review them as things change and as the world changes across the city. So the next steps in this process, this Friday is the last day to submit comments. The comment period closes on this day. On Friday, July 25th, the comments and staff responses to the public comments will be posted on the project website. Then on Monday, August 4th, city the there will be a presentation on this effort to the City Council Transportation Planning and Development Committee. And then at a date to get to be determined this fall, City Council will make a decision on approval or adoption of these plans. And I'll open the floor for any questions. And actually, let me show one more slide um, just to highlight some ways that you can continue to provide feedback. We have a virtual open house that highlights key steps in the process. It links to the plans. You can read the draft plans online and share feedback. We also have office hours that are available to staff or to the public if they're interested. And then we also have hard copies available at the libraries. There was a public hearing for this effort on May 12th, and we've had these virtual webinar options. We had one on May 15th, and then we had one last night and today. And so, yep, that's really all I've got for the presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions or walk through anything back that I went through too quickly through.
I don't have any questions, but
Mhm.
just in looking at your strategic plans and things,
Yeah,
I see where a lot of things that were bought out before the 2040 plan have already been implemented. Public transportation,
yeah,
more housing, with the creation of University City, we got
yeah.
a livable community and so forth. So I can understand why I don't understand why we need more, but I do understand why we need more.
Yeah,
I think what we have needs to be improved
yeah,
rather than bringing in new.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so as you said, like you've seen a lot of change and university area has, gotten a lot and so one of the reasons that we're doing this is because we know there is more growth coming. Whether or not we want it to, we have a projected growth that the city does like they have measures for like how much growth is expected to come, whether in jobs or residents moving here. And so we have to plan to accommodate that growth across the city. The majority of that growth is going to go to the areas that are already kind of built up and have the infrastructure capacity to accept them. But so yeah, that's one reason we had to kind of plan so that we can, allocate where that growth could come as it comes. It's not going to come all at once, but little by little it's going to come. And so we have to make sure that we're prepared. So that's one thing. And then also in doing this planning, we have to make sure that we're keeping up with uh, capacity. So, like you mentioned, transportation,
Yeah.
infrastructure, water, utilities, all those things that kind of come along with everything. It's like a gradual preparation for all of that, if that makes sense.
It does. It makes sense.
Mhm.
I guess I'm just kind of selfish, and when I say I don't know if we have room for more.
Right. Yeah,
And
understandable.
I see a lot of things that can be reused
Yeah.
and stuff instead of going across the street, tearing down trees and land and building up new
Yeah.
when you've got what's already there. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Um, they redid the corner of Eastway and North Tryon.
Yeah.
They redid that mall and made it the Ella Scarborough Center. We
Yeah.
need more of that rather than going out getting more land.
Yeah.
Okay,
Improving the spaces that
improving
are
the
already
spaces
there.
were already there. Yes,
Absolutely. I hear you.
that's what I'd like to see more
Yeah.
of.
That makes sense.
Um,
That's great. Yeah, that's great feedback.
they Yeah, they did a lot in the University City shops area. They bought
Yeah.
in new shops and but that was an area that was already there planned. They just
Yeah.
redid it
Yeah, like some of it
and
may have been
also
underutilized and they can just improve it to like maximize the use of it without going and getting additional.
right.
Yeah,
It's like
absolutely.
they built a new library,
Hmm.
but what are they going to do with the old library building up in
Yeah.
this area? I
Yeah.
haven't seen anything. I didn't see anything in your plan
Hmm.
that call, but that's a piece of land that can be reused
Absolutely.
rather than going behind it or beside it or wherever and doing something new and just leaving that building there vacant.
Yeah.
That's my concern. I see more apartments going up. There is a new housing development plan
Hmm.
and all. I see that happening, but I
Hmm.
see more apartments, townhomes that are going up in this area. And
Yeah.
I understand the population growth. We've got walkable trails, we've got dining, we've
Hmm.
got housing and stuff,
Yeah.
um, and roads and all of that. My concern is just the environment and the
Hmm.
air and the water and stuff like
Right.
that. But I think
Understood.
you did a very good job
Okay,
at
great. Yeah.
presenting.
But yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
totally understand your comments, and I'm documenting those, and I'll share that with our team. And I think yeah, that's very yeah, I totally agree. I think part of our uh, plan and our like our goals for this is when that growth comes, put it in places that make sense, like you mentioned, not, in the places that are already built up, not out far where, or
Mm-hmm.
not out where
Mm-hmm.
it's like fresh and it's not, to like take over open space and, yeah, those environmental concerns for sure.
The the other thing that caught my eye had to do with the demographics
Hmm.
of this area, the way they have changed over the last 25 or 30 years.
Right.
And I just wonder how good that is and why we're getting more blacks and
Hmm.
Hispanic, Latino or
Hmm.
Hispanic, I think is what I said.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, outer geographic residents are 50% black, followed by Latino and 20% white. Why?
Hmm.
What is going on in this area that's attracting that population? And I
Mm.
think it is the type of building that's
Hmm.
being done in
Hmm.
this area. You
Hmm.
don't see the high end beautification going on that I
Hmm.
see in South Charlotte.
Hmm. Right.
Okay. I see beauty supply stores,
Uh-huh.
nail salons, and things
Hmm.
like that, rather than high end shopping
Yeah.
type stores, retail stores going up.
Right.
Another concern I have.
Okay.
As we grow, what are we doing to attract the upper middle class
Right.
population. So
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's noted. I'll make sure I'll make a note of that as well.
that
Um,
that's those are just things that caught my eye, that
yeah.
ran through my mind
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stuff and then the other one where is the land to build on? I mean, I think every spot of vacant land
We're maxed out,
is
right?
being used.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
mm-hmm,
so
mm-hmm,
that's yeah, like where you, as you mentioned before, concentrating that growth in the areas that already have some of maybe those underutilized spaces that
mm-hmm.
can accommodate some of that growth instead of, as you
Yeah.
mentioned, taking
And,
places that have
and
green space.
right.
Yeah.
Instead of creating new infrastructure, just reuse and improve the infrastructure that's already there
Yeah.
instead of going out creating new roads, new streets, new water lines, new utility lines. Let's just try to. I drive through and I see a lot of dilapidated,
Yeah.
rundown properties that probably could be remodeled, rebuilt,
Yeah.
modernized and stuff. So,
Yeah.
okay, I'll hush. That's it.
No, that's great. That's really great feedback. That's really helpful. And yeah, I'll incorporate that into our notes. And then, yeah, no, that's really helpful feedback. I t totally agree.
Well, Maria, I thank you for your time today.
Thank
Uh,
you, Miss
uh,
Casey.
to accommodate those of us who had this time period available and can't make afternoons or evenings,
Right.
doing a midday session was good for us, even though I
Good.
was the only one that showed up. But
Yeah, I do see we have other people in other rooms, but at least for this geography, you're here.
and
And
I
we,
did notice we had a couple of people to join and drop out. I guess they
right.
were in the wrong room.
Yeah, maybe like, or yeah, the wrong room, or yeah, maybe they heard the spiel before if they had been to a previous meeting. So
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
yeah, this
Yeah.
was helpful.
Okay. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Casey. I'm happy to answer any other questions or take any other comments. Okay.
Nothing that I can think of. It's
Okay.
just that, like I said before, I've lived in this area since the 80s.
Oh,
And a
wow.
lot of the things that we were asking for then
Hmm.
have been
That's
implemented
great. That's great to hear.
and all. So I don't see where we can implement more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And stuff. We've got, there's new development off of Harris Boulevard,
Hmm.
Old Concord, North Tryon. It's like, where is there going to be more development? The bridges over 85 help with
Yeah.
traffic and stuff,
Yeah.
and so we've probably gone to the county line
Hmm.
and so yeah,
Yeah, we've gone as far as we could go. So now we just have to
yeah.
improve what we have here and build it up
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, yeah,
It's
absolutely.
and it's a very nice area. It's a nice
Yeah.
part of the city to live in,
Yeah, it is very
and
green.
I like
Yeah.
to see it stay that way.
Yeah.
I understand growth, and nothing to do with today, but
Yeah.
or the plan that's in the 2040 plan. But I think sometimes, why doesn't Charlotte just put a moratorium on growth? No
Ooh.
more people come in. No, we don't want you. Go somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah. I
Go
don't
to
know.
Greenville, South Carolina. Go to the Greensboro. Go to the Burlington area.
Yeah,
Go to
anywhere.
Salisbury. Don't come to Charlotte. We don't want you. But
Yeah.
I understand that North Carolina is attracting people.
Hmm.
Charlotte is attracting people because of the activities that we have here, the
Hmm.
things we have for people to do, which younger people love. And
Yeah.
I'm getting older, so
No, you're still super young, I can tell.
I don't see all of this growth and stuff is good.
I
when we
understand.
moved to Charlotte, it was great. That's where we wanted to be.
Hmm.
But now it's like, oh, the things that are happening in the news and stuff, it's like,
Hmm.
why can't we just move out in the country?
Well, hopefully we can as we grow, hopefully we can do it in a better way so that we can not push out the green space and as you said improve the areas that we have and not
hmm
take
hmm
to consider the environment and all that.
when I look at pictures of New York and pictures of LA. all I see is buildings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see the beautiful tree canopy
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte has.
Yeah, Charlotte is really special with that. Yeah.
And I look at our skyline compared to skylines of those big cities.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, how does sunlight get into the downtown areas with
Yeah.
all of those big skyscrapers and stuff?
Yeah.
I just don't want to see that happening
Yeah.
in Charlotte and
Understood.
all.
Yeah.
So I like the quietness and so forth. So
Yeah, and keeping that green, the tree canopy, that's super important. And it's good for the environment, for the air quality, everything.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I don't want to hear sirens all day and all
Mm.
night,
Yeah.
which I don't now because
Hmm.
of the area and all. But with growth comes that kind of stuff. And I
Yeah.
realize that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Understood.
Okay. Well,
Understood.
I'm going to stop talking now.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Casey. Um, yeah, I'm happy to if you want me to share any specific areas of the plan, because again, it's just you and me right now, so I'm happy to do that. Or
No,
otherwise,
I'm going to stop. You said about a library and get a
oh,
hard copy that I
yeah.
can go through
Hmm.
and digest a little bit more.
Yeah,
So,
that sounds good.
mhm,
Great.
yeah.
Good.
Okay, then.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you, Miss
I
Casey.
will leave now. Thank you very much, Maria. You
Thank
did a
you.
good job.
Thank you. Have a good one. Hi, good afternoon, Linda.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing fine. I was over there just sitting on the other one and I had stepped away for a minute and so I didn't realize that it just had started already there.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Um, yeah, I'm happy to walk you through the community area plan effort for the Northeast Middle, or I'm sorry, for the Southwest Outer area plan. Is this the one that you are uh came to listen to?
Well,
Oh,
hey,
and
yeah,
I'm sorry, I just got a note that you're
okay.
sorry, yes, I just got a note that you're interested in the Northeast Middle Outer plan. Can you hear me? I'm not sure. I can't hear you at the moment. Can you hear me, Linda? Hello? Testing. Oh, I heard you, but very faintly. Do you want to try?
Is this better?
Yes, it is. Now I can hear you.
Okay. There was
Okay.
there was two sections. One was for Oakwood Lane, that's zip code 28215,
Mhm.
and um, one was for Princess Street, and that's 28269.
Okay.
So the first one I'd rather go with because that's the residential.
Sure. So did you want to do some, and just so I understand, do you want to hear the presentation on the community area plan, or did you want to me to pull up the policy map and look at that specific site?
I want to hear the area plan.
Got it. Okay, got it. Well, yes, I will walk you through this, and feel free to interrupt me since it's just the two of us here as I'm going through it if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll take questions at the end. So, yeah, so to get started, again, I'll walk you through an overview of the Northeast Middle Outer plan, and then we'll go for questions. So first I'll provide some context. So for the reason for developing these community area plans is because Charlotte has been continuously growing for decades and is projected to keep growing over time, believe it or not. Um, so in response to the projected growth that's going to happen here, our city adopted the Charlotte Future 2040 Comprehensive Plan in 2021, which defines our 20-year vision for growth and change in Charlotte. And the plan essentially calls for future growth to benefit as many people as possible. So while the comprehensive plan provides the broad vision for our community, there are other levels of guidance needed for our vision to come to life. So this is the planning framework that was adopted within the comprehensive plan, and it identifies the subsequent levels of planning and guidance that it's needed. So as I mentioned, the comprehensive plan is that level 1 type guidance. Level 2 are strategic and action plans, and they are citywide documents that provide more details than the comprehensive plan on a particular topic. For example, the Strategic Mobility Plan by the Charlotte Department of Transportation provides more guidance on how to realize Goal 5, which is creating safe and equitable mobility choices for all. Level 3 types of plans are the plans that we're discussing today, which are community area plans, and they provide more guidance for the appropriate land uses, building form, and infrastructure needed throughout the plan geography. Level 4 type of plans are specific plans that focus on smaller geographies and provide more guidance for implementation of specific projects. It's important to note that levels 2 through 4 all build upon the vision and goals outlined in that comprehensive plan at the top. So community area plans are essentially about creating complete communities, which means creating places that integrate housing, job opportunities, and daily goods in an accessible manner. In other words, live, work, and play in the environment that you live in. So these community area plans were developed with a 5-phase process that's outlined here, and that has occurred over the past 2 years. Staff has offered multiple engagement opportunities in each phase, and the outcomes of each phase have been shared along the way and incorporated into the plans that we're reviewing today. I won't go through each of the phases shown here, but if you have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer for those if you have any questions about those details. This slide summarizes the engagement efforts from phases 1 through phase 4 of the effort. We've reached over 400,000 residents, both online and in person, using a range of tactics, including social media posts, videos, our website, and all the other online interactive content that we've produced. While virtual interactions are great, we still really value in-person interactions, and we've been able to interact with about 6,000 people from phase 1 through 4. For this planning effort, we hosted 50 workshops in which we asked residents to join us, but we also made an effort to meet people where they are by attending other community meetings that were being held, festivals, and being at libraries across the city. And you can see the geographic dispersion of our in-person interactions on the map to the right. Throughout phases 1 through 4, we've received about 1,700 comments that have helped shape the draft plans. And all of this engagement also builds upon the feedback received through the 500,000 interactions during the comp plan development and 6,000 interactions we did via the policy map effort. So the plans were developed using a systematic process, meaning they were developed in the same way and will have the same components and format within them. So as you can see on the map here to the left, we have the 14 we have the 14 different geographies outlined via the different colors here on the map to the left. So each plan includes unique content that reflects the individual character of that geography, as well as the same common policy guidance that helps achieve our vision. And again, it's organized in kind of the same way for each plan. They provide a common set of considerations for all decision makers to ensure that we're consistently evaluating options in line with the city's vision. Over time, these considerations will help ensure growth is accommodated in a way that respects established neighborhoods, aligns the future growth with the infrastructure capacity, and creates vibrant mixed-use centers for all. So with that initial background, I'm going to kind of walk through the contents of the plan. So all of the plans, as I mentioned, are organized in the same way with the content specific to each area. The plans include an introduction, which is kind of the information I've shared in these previous slides, which provides an overview of all of that already that I've shared. And then I'll walk you kind of through each of the other chapters shown here. So in the community area profile chapter, it provides an overview of the area, and this includes a summary of the projected residential units and new jobs for the area, as well as a comparison of local demographics to citywide demographics. For the community needs and goals chapter, the geography's greatest needs and prioritized goals are outlined. For this geography, the first priority is focused on increasing access to housing choices, followed by access to job opportunities, then access to daily goods and services, followed by issues relating to environmental justice. These plans focused on these four needs because these are the metrics that were outlined, that were identified in the comprehensive plan as paramount for ensuring that future growth benefits as many people as possible. So
Was
the
that,
10,
excuse me,
uh-huh.
excuse me, I'm sorry. So was there surveys done to get those numbers for that interest there? How did they determine that?
So for these, they used it wasn't surveys, it was data that they used to that they pulled from census and a variety of things. I can, if you want the kind of the specific topics, I can or the specific sources that we used, I can pull this up here. Let me share this. Okay, bear with me while I pull this up. 2040 community reports. Okay, so these this info that we have shared on this slide here, not this one, the demographics page. So all of this info is available in the plans that we've produced, and it's available on this website here, which I can drop in the chat so you can kind of dig into a little bit more. But so if you click on Northeast Middle Outer, and this will pull up a page with a map of the geography. And then you kind of scroll on this left-hand side here. I'm just going to scroll down a bit, and it says this map source was the City of Charlotte Community Planning Areas 2022. So this was, oh, and this one here. So the American Community Survey, ACS, from 2019, and the Quality of Life Explorer information from 2020. So when you scroll through each of these, it shows where that source is from. So
Okay.
yeah, if and then if you have like specific questions about those, then you can let me know. And then I may not know the answer to those specifically, but I can try
Oh,
to get any additional details.
that's
Yeah.
fine. I'm just
Okay.
curious, where was they getting the data from?
Yeah. 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 Okay. So let me, I think I was at this one. Yeah. Yeah. So with those four metrics and those produced um, these scores listed here. Um, if an area scored less than 5, then there's goals that were associated with these metrics here, and then so those goals that scored the metrics that scored less than 5, the associated goals were identified as the priorities goals for that geography. And I will also say that all 10 of the goals are important to each geography, but prioritizing this list with that data in this way helps kind of prioritize limited dollars and resources um, for the geographies. So the Creating Complete Communities chapter focuses on the recommended development pattern for the geography via the 2040 policy map. The colors in the map relate to the types and intensity of development that is appropriate for that area. And to learn more about those colors, you can see that in the place type descriptions in the appendix of the plan. And I can pull that up as well if you want to see more about that. Um, the plan recommends that 78% of the geography here remain as is, meaning if redevelopment occurs in these areas, like the neighborhood 1 shown in yellow on the map, then any new development should match the scale and intensity of the development that's on the ground today there. The plan recommends that 22% of the geography evolve into a different type of development than what exists today. So these changes will help accommodate our projected growth in a way that respects neighborhoods, pairs growth with infrastructure capacity, and creates mixed-use centers, which help increase access across Charlotte. Now, the map can certainly change over time, and there's specific guidance around that within the program guide of the plans under the minor map amendment criteria section to ensure that future requests for changes are aligned with the growth strategy. The rest of this chapter illustrates the types of changes to the policy map and then how the recommended changes help advance the geography's priority goals, and then address their greatest needs as well. The next chapter, supporting the vision, includes 5 sections shown here in addition to the neighborhood toolkit. The neighborhood toolkit is included within the appendix because it's a reference for all geographies. It's a really great toolkit if you're active in your neighborhood and your community. It helps catalog all of the great programs that are currently available to residents to help address various community needs. The intent is that this toolkit is a resource to empower the neighborhoods who want to take action. For example, there are multiple programs that are offered for groups or individuals to tap into improving like common open spaces or certain, parks in their neighborhoods. So that's an example of a few ways that, and they also have like grant programs that are available. So um, I can share that link directly to that if you want to walk through that as well. Um, the
But
next section, uh-huh.
I'm sorry, you said the link that you could share is
Yeah, I can put it in the chat right now. Let me
okay. That's fine.
I'll do
That's
that
fine.
so that you can take
I
a
can
look
go
at
back
that.
and take a, okay.
Yeah, no, I can do that now. I can drop it in here. So and I'll just kind of walk you through here if you haven't been on the website, just so you can see where all of this, because I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you. So if you go to cltfuture2040.com, on this page here, you can do view draft plans.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go here, here it shows all of the plans and all of the geography, so northeast, middle, outer. Here's the appendix that I've mentioned a few times. The appendix is what has the neighborhood toolkit. The program guide has additional information on the place types and other things. So I'm going to click on appendix, and then sometimes you have to give it a second to load. And then, yep, here it is. Okay, so let me scroll up a bit. Sometimes it might not land right in the same page, or maybe just because that's where I was before. Um, Bear with me. Okay. So in this section, it's the neighborhood toolkit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so each of the programs that are offered are broken up into these different categories. So it's related to housing, essential goods and services, open space and environmental, mobility, community character, and then later neighborhood leadership and capacity building. So I'll just kind of walk through a few, for example. So there's some about that offer information about building accessory dwelling units on your property, some about applying for housing trust fund money to apply to build and preserve affordable housing. Some are for home grants, for uh, emergency rent and utility assistance, and other things like this related to housing. Let me scroll down here. So access to essential goods and services. If your neighborhood wants to host a special event or do things related to essential goods and services, there's a few different um, programs here. One is the Business Facade Improvement Grant. Then there's grants and programs to enhance neighborhood common open spaces or organize like volunteer cleanups, um, resources for trees, parks and rec volunteer opportunities. And let me scroll down to one that's pretty interesting. Okay, so under the community character section, there's a placemaking grant program. There's a whole hub and a website related to this. Um, and community members can apply to um, kind of like activate leftover underutilized spaces in their community, improve the streetscape. They can, if like there's people interested or in doing murals or things like that. It has a kind of a lot of a broad mix of things that you can kind of cater to. Um, so it's a great resource if you're interested in these kinds of things.
Okay, so then
Mhm.
to access that information, then I can go to that what you put in the chat for the
Yes.
appendix there.
Let me put this in the chat. Okay.
Open up.
There's the CAP appendix, and then I'll also drop the
So then
website.
would I search under the guide or the appendix for that, like with the information files with the grants? Yeah.
Yes. So if you in the appendix, sorry. Yes. And then where it says table of contents, so once you click on the appendix section, you
Mhm.
can click on that tab for a table of contents, and it's Appendix A, Neighborhood Toolkit, and it'll take you to that first section. And so there's
Oh,
like
okay.
20 pages here, so just kind of like you can,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
you can kind of read through each one and just to like see what's available and then see what
Uh,
like interests
okay.
you. But if
Okay.
or if there's one thing if you're interested in specifically, I can try to navigate and find it for you.
No, I just like the information to want to see what's available, and so
Yeah.
nothing particular interest there. So I guess
Okay.
I have something to look at to
Yeah.
do some reading on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so this can provide, yeah, you'll see there's a lot of different programs available. And yeah, maybe something you didn't know is that you might interest you will pop up. So, yeah. So I'll pep back over to this section
Okay.
and continue there unless you have any other questions related to that or
I
you
don't. I'm
okay.
fine. You can go.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I'll continue here then. Um Yeah, so the next section in the supporting the vision chapter is the mobility section, and this was developed with all of our transportation partners. Um, it reiterates topics around Goal 5, which is safe and equitable mobility across Charlotte. It also includes a clip of the citywide streets map section shown here on this top map here. Um, and it outlines future cross sections for arterial streets like main streets in Charlotte.
Mhm.
And there's also guidance for smaller streets that are not arterial street, and that's informed by the Unified Development Ordinance regulations. This section summarizes the citywide strategic mobility plan and highlights the strategic investment areas within the geography. And the strategic mobility plan is that level 2 type of plan that I mentioned earlier that provides guidance around the city's mobility policy, so more specific planning. And The SIA is a citywide investment strategy. The SIA is the strategic investment area shown here. It's a citywide investment strategy for maximizing the city's limited investment dollars in an efficient and impactful manner related to like improving streetscapes and that could include things like bike lanes, sidewalks, crosswalks, lighting, things like that. So that this section provides a little more information on that. And then next, for the mobility section, it includes a new level of guidance called the mobility assessment. And so this assessment, shown here on this via this map and this associated table here, um, it evaluates how well our future mixed use places are meeting our aspirations. Um, and so these assessments can be used by all stakeholders, residents, developers, and city officials to help inform future development and infrastructure projects within these areas. For example, if a developer wants to rezone a site within one of these mixed-use locations, they should use this assessment to propose a project that improves the conditions listed here. Similarly, community members can evaluate a proposed project against this assessment to determine if the project contributes to the area's aspirations. The open space and community characters chapter also include a similar assessment related to those topics because open space and community character are also important components um, of the place type aspirations. For the sake of time, I won't go into those details, but again, if those are topics that you're interested in, I can show those as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. And then the next section is environmental justice and sustainability. Again, that builds upon the comprehensive plan's vision to reduce environmental impacts across Charlotte. This section provides a more detailed analysis of the environmental impacts within the planned geography and provides information on the tree canopy, impervious surfaces, proximity to industrial sites and major infrastructure and details on floodplain issues, as shown in these little dials here shown on the top. It shows how that each geography measures with each of these. It also introduces a new environmental metric that we're using, which is heat impacts. Um, and and so we need to consider how heat impacts our our considered in future decision making. So this section provides a little more info
You said,
on that.
before you go, I'm sorry, Maria. You
Uh-huh.
said heat impacts. What's that? Heat impacts. What do you mean?
Yeah, it's so if you see on this map here, it shows like how the heat is affected across the city. So this can be related to things such as impervious surfaces and tree canopy. So if there's shade or more parking lots in certain area, it can increase or reduce like some of that heat that's on the ground. So like people who are walking in the community or going to a park and how that heat impacts like your daily life, and how we can help mitigate that, either with trees or parks or things such as that, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So that's fine. Yeah. So then and so this section, if you read that, if you're interested in that, it provides a little bit more detail on that as well. Yep. Um, And then the implementation section provides additional specific strategies for various partners and agencies for advancing this work. So it's not just, so I'm with the planning department, so it's not just the planning department doing this, it's um, the sustainability office, transportation, yeah, all of the partners across and agencies across the city and county. The implementation section also has illustrative concepts or renderings that provide some visualizations for how those areas are recommended for changes and how that might look over time. And then the program guide that I mentioned and the appendix are also available, and it provides additional background information to all of the plans. And then, so after these plans are adopted by City Council this fall, they're implemented in multiple ways. The private and public sectors both have a role to play. They may be implemented through private development, public-private partnerships, capital improvements, or rezonings. Um, they're an important component of Charlotte's planning framework, but they're not the only tool in the toolbox. We also have specific plans which focus on smaller geographies and are more implementation focused. And when we have the ability to develop, we have the ability to develop this guidance if and when needed across the city. So keep in mind that planning is cyclical, and we plan to monitor and update the comprehensive plan and these community area plans every 8 to 10 years as conditions change and as the city continues to grow. Next steps, the last day to comment on these plans is this Friday, July 18th. So the comment period will close. And then the following Friday, the 25th, the comments that we've received will have staff responses that are posted on the project website. And then on Monday, August 4th, there'll be a presentation to the City Council Transportation Planning and Development Committee. And then sometime after that is when the city council decision would occur. There's just one more slide. Again, just as I showed you how you can access the plans view the plans link on the website. We also have office hours that are available. If people want to sign up, if you know of someone else that missed this webinar that wants to spend a little more time talking to us, they can sign up for office hours. They can visit our open house, and it highlights key steps in the process. We had the public hearing for this effort on May 12th, and then again, we've had these virtual webinars. We had one on May 15th, and then we had one last night and today. Um, so yeah, that's the bulk of the presentation. Um, I'm happy to answer any other questions that you may have or walk through any of the sections that I mentioned.
No, I mean, that was good.
Okay,
And
great.
that's all I have there. I have the website now, so I have
Good.
it to go and do some reading there.
Yeah,
But I'm glad I got an opportunity to hear the overview.
good. And then I'll also mention, since you're on the website, you can also comment on the plans. Um, and if you see something, or if you're not sure about something, for example, let me click on one and go to a section. So you can click anywhere in the document and add, like if you want your name, your email. It's not required, but you can put your name and an email here, and put your comment in there. Like if you're like, I like this, or I don't like this, or I disagree, or I think we need more of this. That's how you can submit your comments.
Okay.
If you have other comments like as you're reading through them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, then yeah, as I mentioned, I'm happy to go through any others or yeah, that's really all I had.
Well, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Linda. Thanks for coming and spending your afternoon.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.